To fully comprehend what piques a woman's interest, particularly as we become older, we must put preconceptions aside and pay close attention to what her body and silence are actually saying. It's not necessarily about performance or intensity. Rather, it's about paying attention to the little things that are often missed. A gentle kiss on the neck can say a lot. In fact, research shows that 94% of women find kisses on the neck to be quite exciting. This isn't simply a physical reaction, it's an emotional one. Intimate places like the ears and tummy can arouse a woman's trust, arousal, and vulnerability. When intentionally handled, many men are shocked to hear that many women find SI's threest during menstruation not only acceptable but actually enjoyable. While some partners tend to avoid intimacy during this time, many women experience heightened sensitivity and deeper emotional openness. These subtle acts let her know she is seen as desirable and worth slowing down. It occurs during these silent times when there is only presence and no pressure or performance. The myths regarding attraction, some of the most significant connections can develop, but they call for a guy who can see past her booze and meet her where she is with confidence and patience. Perhaps the most misunderstood fact is that only 15 to 18% of women can orgasm with vaginal penetration. Alone, the remaining women need to pay close attention to the clitoris, an area of their anatomy that is frequently disregarded yet is essential to their enjoyment. These are not merely statistics. Almost 40% of women have their first form of orgasm through clitoral stimulation, and 80% of women believe that their nipples should receive significantly more attention than they often do. For many couples, especially those over 50, they serve as gentle reminders that true intimacy is about learning to be fully present in every tender moment. Not assuming, listening, or leading, intimacy becomes genuinely unforgettable when it transcends routine and touches something deeper, something sensory, emotional, and almost spiritual. Rediscovering this depth is not about picking up new skills, but about reawakening old instincts with care and intention. One of the most effective ways to increase physical and emotional connection is through sensory play. For instance, a simple blindfold may seem like a playful novelty, but it does something extraordinary and invites trust when sight is taken away. Every touch, whisper, and breath becomes amplified, and she feels more emotionally and physically because you are leading her through a shared experience where presence is more important than performance. Even how you get ready for intimacy can set the tone for a deeper connection. In addition to relaxing the body, taking a warm bath or showering together before bed promotes blood flow to her most vulnerable parts, especially the breasts and nipples. The combination of the water warmth and your touch made her feel loved and cared for rather than just excited. This type of foreplay builds anticipation and lays the groundwork for when used carefully and respectfully. Natural lubricants like coconut oil or even saliva can significantly increase pleasure. Type 1, the strong protector, safety and desire. The key is in the delivery, so warm it between your fingers. First, apply it gently and use it as part of the experience rather than as a means to an end. The spooning position, on the other hand, is gentle, close, and intimate, allowing for emotional connection and whispering in the dark. These techniques aren't just about sensation, they're about saying, without words, I'm here, I understand her sensual zones. Standing sixth, which is frequently underappreciated, gives men more control and can help delay climax while also positioning the body in a way that enhances G-spot stimulation, neck, stomach, ears, and emotional contact. For many women, it's not just the act of sixth that remains with them, it's also the way they were made to feel during it. The positions that become unforgettable are the ones where they felt fully seen, deeply connected, and utterly cherished. I want to see you all. There are intimate moments that last long after the lights go out, the kind of moments that live in the mind and body like a memory. One of the most effective methods to develop that emotional and physical intimacy is through in-person sexual contact combined with focused clitoral stimulation, being that close matching breaths, exchanging not just touch but also emotion, and staring into each other's eyes is unquestionably sacred. While the eye contact builds a connection between bodies and hearts, The clitoral focus guarantees that her pleasure stays at the center of the encounter when paired with a vibrator that targets her clitoris doggy style, which is sometimes misinterpreted as just physical, takes on an entirely new meaning, turning it into an act of devotion in which your hands guide, support, and enhance her enjoyment. Deep penetration is possible with the position alone, but when external stimulation is added, a dual experience is created that appeals to her body's entire spectrum of sensations. It's daring, intimate, and when done carefully, very empowering for her. There is also oral when done with generosity and presence. So 3XY is a very vulnerable and intimate act that produces more than just physical fulfillment. It fosters trust when a man gives his full attention to her enjoyment without hurrying or expecting anything in return. It lets her know she's worth discovering, enjoying, and spending time with. Understanding a woman's emotional and psychological cues is like learning a language without words, a language that speaks through tone, touch, and timing. These are not merely positions, they are invitations to be the second type that she craves, the man who understands her emotional rhythms, knows them, touches them, and loves them in ways that leave a lasting impression on her soul. Women rarely exhibit loud or overt attraction. Instead, it manifests itself in their tenderness. Type number 2, the passionate leader's voice, the way her body inherently draws nearer to yours during intimacy, or the way her gaze linger without speaking. Her desire to hold you, pull you in, and maintain your connection is expressed when she puts her legs around you. This gesture is much more than just a desire. It's a declaration of trust, craving, and emotional intimacy all at once. Once she achieves orgasm, the body of a woman changes into a more sensitive state. Her clitoris, the source of her pleasure, needs time to rest and recover. This could take 5 minutes or an hour, but how you react is more important than the amount of time. What used to feel enjoyable may suddenly feel overwhelming. These are the times that create a long-lasting sense of emotional safety. And let's not forget something seemingly insignificant but incredibly telling. A man who is kind, patient, and perceptive in these moments becomes someone she can completely let go with, because a kiss is frequently the first indication of how a man would treat her body, her wants, and her desires. Kissing a lousy kisser can ruin everything. Heart. It's a sneak peek at his emotional intelligence and rhythmic awareness, and that's what she really desires: a man who is not only strong-looking, but also self-assured enough to be there, composed enough to listen, and intelligent enough to decipher what she is not saying. This is the type of man who stays in her memory long after the night is over. Intimacy should be a place of emotional safety, trust, and exploration, not out of danger or dread, but far too frequently crucial. Boundaries are violated due to misunderstandings rather than malice. It's simple to get caught up in the moment, especially when so much of the media glorifies aggressive or domineering behavior. But the reality is that too few guys how to establish lasting trust by being present and patient at the right times here. Every year, more than 600 Americans are taken to the emergency room as a result of strangulation-related accidents during the 6th careless passion. Without communication is a surefire way to endanger people. No matter how thrilling an act seems, it must always be based on mutual consent and emotional awareness, because when a woman feels unsafe, she doesn't just physically shut down. Instead, she emotionally disconnects, and the connection you've worked so hard to establish can suddenly come to light. It's also critical to recognize what many women endure in silence, but hardly ever express. Approximately 95% of women say they don't appreciate having their head or hair grabbed during oral sex. This isn't because they're extremely sensitive, rather, it's because they feel overwhelmed in a moment that should be entirely focused on their pleasure. They want to feel free to receive it, not coerced into it. What makes an attraction last isn't type number 3, the forceful dominance of an emotionally intelligent companion. While ideas about threesomes may sound thrilling, bringing that dynamic into a loving relationship carries a risk. Its strength is combined with care, desire, and respect. Many regret at the core of all of this is the straightforward fact that when a woman feels safe, she opens up completely. Safety is your power. It's what makes you unforgettable. When it comes to female pleasure, jealousy, insecurity, and emotional fallout can surface quickly. Even when intentions are pure, if doubt is ever explored, it should be outside of a committed partnership with clearly defined boundaries. Many men still hold on to antiquated ideas that a woman using a vibrator must indicate that something is lacking in the relationship, but this couldn't be further from the reality. In fact, 20% of women regularly use sixth toys, not because they're unhappy, but rather because they're more self-aware and independent. These devices enhance connection rather than replace it. It's not about replacing a man. A woman who is aware of her body and what makes her happy is much more inclined to share that information with the third type she desires, the self. Assured, purposeful leader partner, which leads to more satisfying intimacy for both of them. It concerns a woman regaining her freedom to enjoy herself without restraint or shame. The idea that vibrators lead to dependency is untrue. Regular use has been demonstrated to increase libido sensitivity and help women experience orgasm more frequently instead of viewing vibrators as a rival. Consider them as a guide that teaches her what she likes and provides you, her partner, with insight into how to touch her in meaningful ways. It's not about mechanics, but rather about connection learning and mutual exploration. And let's not forget the amazing benefits of a woman's orgasm beyond climax. Her pulse rate can reach 180 beats per minute, which releases endorphins which naturally relieve pain and let her let go of emotions in certain moments. Headaches, cramps, and even worry disappear. There is something inherently appealing about a man who knows what he wants and isn't afraid to say it, not with arrogance or entitlement, but with calm, grounded confidence. That's where the simple yet powerful phrase "I want" comes in. It's more than just words. It's a signal of clarity, direction, and emotional maturity. Her pleasure is not just physical, it's a healing, empowering experience. And the man who supports and encourages that kind of release becomes not only her lover, but also her sanctuary. When a man says, "I want," with sincerity, he becomes a leader in the moment, offering presence rather than passivity. In a world where so many people hesitate, defer, or avoid stating their feelings directly, a man who speaks from his truth stands out in the most powerful way. These are three qualities that women find incredibly magnetic, especially as they grow wiser in love. It's about expressing your wants with intention rather than controlling the outcome or demanding your way. For instance, saying, "I want to take you to dinner this Friday," has a different energy than saying, "We could go out sometime if you want." When you say, "I want to get to know you better," you're telling her that you see her, that you've chosen her, and that you're not afraid of your own vulnerability. Confidence combined with emotional respect creates an environment where trust and intimacy grow for many men. The first is an invitation, and the second is indecision. How to develop these traits in yourself? You may confuse passivity with politeness, but when you say things like "whatever you want," or "I don't know," you unintentionally indicate a lack of self-control women don't need to learn how to use. "I want to build magnetic attraction over 50, perfection." Instead, they need presence, which starts with owning your feelings and your voice. "I want" is not selfish, it's a gift. It tells her that you're willing to show up, and in return she'll lean in. This is because genuine intimacy was never meant to be perfect. It's not measured by flawless technique or by how many times passion ignites in a week. Rather, it's something far more sacred, something that deepens with as we age. The environment around us frequently conveys the false impression that desire is reserved for the young, with wrinkles that link weakens real intimacy. However, starts when we finally let go of performance and lean into presence. It exists in silent moments of wordless understanding, in the tender touch that says, "I'm still here with you." That excitement is for another chapter, when two people can meet without masks, without shame, and without having to prove anything. Something beautiful happens. Intimacy thrives on awareness of yourself, your partner, and the space between you. It asks for patience rather than pressure, welcomes curiosity over assumptions, and invites you to listen, not just to words, but to breath, to energy, to longing that doesn't always have language there. Intimacy thrives, passion transforms from physical to emotional, and even spiritual yearning doesn't go away with age. It just changes beat. What was once urgent now feels rich. What was once surface becomes layered. And in that evolution, there is a unique form of fulfillment. Experience also brings with it a different kind of fire, an ember that shines warm and deep throughout the night, rather than a flame that burns quickly and goes out. Intimacy after 50 is not a door closing, rather, it's a chance to love with greater presence, touch with greater intention, and realize that what we really want isn't perfection, but genuine, honest, and lasting connection. In this story, the main character is a man over 50 who starts to rediscover the lost art of kissing and why it's still important to connect with women through emotional presence rather than youth or perfection. Through quiet assurance and sincere closeness, he discovers that women are drawn to men who are aware of the little things. He discovers that genuine attraction isn't about big gestures, but rather about being the type of man who makes a woman feel safe, seen, and wanted. He embraces new methods of intimacy using touch communication and shared vulnerability. He gets a kiss on the neck, a warm look, and a confident, "I want" finally, by learning to read her body language, respect her boundaries, and lead with precision. He becomes unforgettable. It's not only physical, it's a gateway to emotional connection, healing, and trust. Women's hidden thoughts regarding vibrators, toys, and threesomes are also revealed. He ultimately becomes himself, not because he attempts to be someone else, seek connection more than perfection. Women prefer genuine presence over artifice. So speak from the heart, give her your undivided attention, and carefully attend to her needs. It's never too late to rediscover intimacy or learn to love more completely. Growing older doesn't diminish desire. Rather, it teaches you how to create